Listen.
There are people who humble themselves. They are spiritually better than other people. That's the only way it can be said. He may bristle at that, but that's what he's saying. They are spiritually better than the other people.
No, just the opposite is true. Only on Calvinism are people spiritually better when they come to Christ. Okay, that's only a Calvinistic doctrine. That's not a provisionistic doctrine. On a provisionistic doctrine, the people are equally able. Their ontological nature, their abilities, are equally able to come to Christ. So no matter where they come from, where they are in their life, they are always able to repent and come to Christ until they die. Okay, and so a person is not ontologically a better person. And when I say ontologically, the makeup of their nature, who they are. And this is a doctrine, a system of teaching that started with Augustine in the 5th century. Even we've quoted from Bettner and Bavinck and other leading Calvinistic historians that say this concept and idea of total inability, this inability of the natural man to believe the scriptures or to believe God, you don't find it in any early church writings until Augustine. Okay, and again, that's not just me saying that. That's from Dr. Ken Wilson and many unbiased sources, meaning Calvinistic sources, who come to that conclusion, that clearly state that this doctrine of this concept of total moral inability, this ontological change that's needed in order for somebody to believe the Bible, that doesn't get introduced until a former Manichaean Gnostic introduces it into the church via Augustine, obviously, as we've argued in other places. And I even referenced that in my debate with regard to Christendom, referring to John 6:44, saying the Manichaeans leap onto this text, attempting to prove that we have no power of the will, and that was never rebutted or even talked about in the entire discussion. In fact, I'll pull it up in here so you can see it, because I think it's worth seeing, because this is something, again, that flowed. There's a lot of things that flowed in the debate, but this was one of them that was never addressed. Not that you have to address everything in a debate, but this is one of the things that he refers to John 6:44. The Manichaeans spring upon these words, saying that nothing lies in our own power, and that's exactly what Augustine ended up arguing. A former Manichaean ended up arguing that passages like John 6:44 proves that there's no power in our will, and that's exactly what's the root of that? Manichaeanism, not Christian doctrine. And so that's why we're pointing that out, which I think is a valid argument. And so what he's really not seeing is the irony of his statement, because it's only on Calvinism that somebody is a spiritually better person. You're spiritually dead unless he makes you alive. So he has to regenerate you, making you ontologically a different, better person. And then you will believe in Jesus. So it's only on Calvinism that you're a better person spiritually. You're spiritually made into a live, regenerate person, and then you will believe in Jesus. So it's the irony upon ironies. He's accusing provisionists, non-Calvinists, of believing that someone is a better person that believes in Jesus. And we're saying, no, anybody can believe in Jesus. It's not an ontological difference of one person over another. It's a choice of their will. They have the ability to choose to come or to reject Christ, and anyone can. So it would be like two people who have equal capacity, physically speaking. And again, don't confuse the analogy. It's a categorical error. I'm saying I'm using physical ability to illustrate moral ability. If two people had the physical capacity to stand up, and I said to them, you must stand up in order to live. Okay, and one of them chooses to stay seated and the other one chooses to stand, then I could say both of them had the ability to come. Both of them were equal in their capacity to come. Now, let's suppose, and so in other words, one was not better physically than the other. Both were equally able to respond and stand up, right? But let's say they're both quadriplegics. Neither one of them have the physical capacity to stand. And I say, stand up in order to have life, and neither one of them stand up. Okay. And then suppose I say, stand up in order to have life, and I pick one of them, and supernaturally I give one of them the power to stand again, and they stand up, and the other one remains a quadriplegic. That would be more like Calvinism. what have I done? I've ontologically given them a physical capacity they did not have before, causing them to be a better person now. They're walking. They're not a cripple anymore. The other one's a cripple. This one's not a cripple anymore. Therefore, he can't stand up because I've given them that ability. And so this is the irony of all ironies on Calvinism, is that he accuses us of believing that it's the better person who believes in Jesus. And it's actually on Calvinism. You are regenerated, made into a better person, meaning you're given a capacity you did not have from birth, and the other one is remaining in their inability from birth, that they had from birth, that they have no control over. And it doesn't seem like Calvinists are understanding their own position when they make these kinds of arguments. And it seems like Calvinists would understand that.